Good evening, Tuesday. This is Crypto Big Boss coming to you with another great video. You know, sometimes I do videos because I just really need to let off some real steam. Sometimes I get angry about things. And one of the things that is just bothering me is this whole thing, what's going on with the Bitcoin ETF. This is the biggest story of the year and nobody's paying attention. Nobody. It's like, okay, we've talked about SHIB. Yes, that's great. Ethereum is big, yes, but this whole thing with Bitcoin is just no wonder it stays on top, because big things just keep happening to Bitcoin, and it's just like it's the chosen one. I don't think anybody's paying attention. I have several videos about the ETFs and how this is our path to $100,000 Bitcoin. And here it is. The Canadians had the first one. Now we have one approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And look at what happens on the very first day. Look at this. First Bitcoin futures ETF trades nearly 1 billion in one day. Folks, this is the biggest story of the year, and nobody's talking about anything but SHIB. The first ever Bitcoin ETF has hit the market, and it nearly broke the trading record for any debuting ETF. You can see this article on Decrypt. Check it out, folks. Let's just dig into it. First US Bitcoin futures ETF launched today, and eager investors traded 280 million worth of shares in the first 20 minutes. Listen at that. Over $250 million worth of shares in the first 20 minutes. By the time the market closed on Tuesday, nearly $1 billion in shares had changed hands. ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, the first Bitcoin ETF approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, began trading today on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker BITO, B-I-T-O, after receiving approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Investors wanting exposure to the biggest cryptocurrency were able to buy shares tied to the future Bitcoin price, which rose to $42.50 at one point, a 5.4 increase from the initial net set value of $40. They're talking about the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, the actual cost of it. The shares ultimately closed at $41.94, an increase of 4.85% in the value of the ProShares Bitcoin ETF in the first day. Okay. The big thing to understand here is over almost $1 billion changed hands today based on the futures estimates for Bitcoin. Okay. It almost beat a record. The last record was, it says here, only one ETF in history, US ETF, hit $1 billion on its first day, and that was BlackRock's Carbon Transition Readiness. Folks, that's big. This is big news, okay? Now they're talking about how they thought it was going to be successful, but they had no idea it was going to be this successful, and it's just proof that institutional investors are taking note that, hey, we can come in here now and we can buy large amounts of Bitcoin through these ETFs, okay? So the Securities and Exchange Commission has been slow to approve a true Bitcoin ETF, citing concerns around market manipulation in crypto. So Gary Gensler, the SEC chairman, indicated in August that the SEC would be inclined to approve an ETF that tracked Bitcoin futures, presumably because the futures market is already regulated by the CFTC. So that's how they squeaked by after denying one ETF after another. At one point, I remember going out there to the proposed ETFs that had been put in front of the SEC. They had maybe 14, almost at one point, maybe 18 of them, and none of them got approved. They were just shooting them down left and right. Well, one finally squeaks by, and look what happens on the very first day. Physical Bitcoin or not, ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF has proven that Wall Street investors are hungry for Bitcoin. Great article on Decrypt. Folks, do not miss the message. Bitcoin is going to $100,000. There's nothing that can stop it now. Absolutely nothing. Nothing can stop it. Some people might think that federal regulation from the United States could possibly hamper it, but they don't understand that this is a global thing. And now, even now, the Security and Exchange Commission has just opened the floodgates. What other ETFs might be forthcoming? I don't know. I'd love to hear your comments. Please drop a like, subscribe, share, and please drop your comments of what you think the Bitcoin ETF could mean for the price of Bitcoin. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.